Welcome to Blog Talk Radio in high fidelity.
That's it? No intro? Oh, no intro. Robert,
I guess not. We're going to have to do our own.
You're going to have to sing us an intro now. What would be a good intro? Let me see. Somebody from Cincinnati, what would be a good intro to do?
Well, I know you're going to pull out. There you go.
Using the phone without a camera. Clean guns, already handled. Call me the cable guy. Keep the hammer. Lucky I'm with the shit. If I'm not with my niggas, I'm with your bitch. This is it again. If I'm magic quit, make you disappear like a magic trick. Shoot like Toyota bitch. Hang with all fellas. Keep the top when I sweat through the traffic. See through you niggas panoramic. I'm pitching it overhand or underhanded. These niggas don't want to see me in the phantom. But that's in that 10K for a table. My niggas, they keep the K so they able. Financially stable.
I couldn't ask for a better introduction. We are live. Welcome to the Ringside Reporter podcast, where we talk about the latest boxing news. If it's related to boxing, we'll talk about it here. My name is Eric Lorta. I'm here with my co-host, Ringside Robert, and England's adopted son, Joe Habib. We got a great show for you today, and as always, you can catch us on the web at ringsidereporter.com. If you want to call and ask questions, you can call in right now, 323-870-3857. And we'll be here till about 9 o'clock tonight. Today, we're going to talk about Deontay Wilder offers Anthony Joshua $50 million. Elena, is that a lot of money?
Yes.
All right, that's a lot of money. Hey, Elena said it's a lot of money. You know it's a lot of money, right? Canelo Alvarez is in the clear. Robert, your man passed a hair follicle test. He passed it.
Well, he ain't my man.
He passed the hair follicle test, son. What can you say? Can't say much now.
We still have no fight. So,
no, that's messed up. That's messed up. Why would you say that? Why would you say that? All right, but first, we get started with HBO. Danny Jacobs and Maciej Sulecki. I always thought it was Sulecki, but hey, I stand corrected. How did Buffett pronounce his name last night?
Sulecki, I think.
Yeah, Sulecki, like with an N, like a silent N, or like a
no, Sulecki. So that's how he pronounced it. So.
All right, Danny Jacobs had a unanimous decision win over Sulecki by the scores of 116, 111, 117, 110, and 115, 112. I had the fight 116, 111 for Jacobs, as I predicted. It was not an easy night for Jacobs, but hey, to his credit, he boxed very well and turned it up when he had to. At the end of the night, he called out Jamel Charlo, I can't even remember which one. That bugs me that they're both the same name. You have twins and you name them like one letter off. But hey, it works for them.
Yeah, well, I think Jamal is the middleweight, and
it's Jamal. It was Jamal.
Okay, so I did have it right. Jamel Charlo. That's a fight that can be made, and I think it's a good fight, and I think it's a very good fight for Jacobs because he may be the mandatory for Triple G. He ain't getting that fight anytime soon.
No, not
anytime soon. He ain't getting it. So G's got the belts on lockdown. He's not getting the fight anytime soon. He might as well fight Charlo. Charlo is not going to fight him. Charlo is going to look for his mandatory against Triple G, but I guarantee that's the fight that really both of them should really sit back and look at and say, hey, this is for me. So I don't know. Robert, we're going to start with you today. What did you think of Jacobs, and what did you think of this fight?
I thought Danny did a very good job throughout this fight, but Sulecki gave him some issues, and he went back to the corner, especially after the first round, and complained how tall the guy was. And he kept switching back and forth between orthodox and southpaw because I think he was having trouble, dealing with the guy's size. But other than that, after a few rounds, he figured it out and did what he had to do. But I like the fact that he was tested, had to deal with something that he wasn't used to. And, I'm glad that he won the fight because I'm in the camp that says that he deserves a rematch for Triple G because he very easily could have won that first fight. And I think Danny needs to keep staying in the gym, staying sharp, and taking good fights. And I think the Charlo fight would be very good for both of them. Sign it up as soon as possible. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I think so too. Beeb, what about you? What were your thoughts on this? And was Sulecki better than you thought?
Yeah, he was, and you were right again. I think you were spot on with your analysis last week that Sulecki would be a stern test for Jacobs. I thought he was. I actually gave Sulecki the first 2 rounds. I gave Sulecki 4 rounds in the fight, and there was some tight rounds too. So this could be a 7-5, 8-4 fight for Jacobs. I think Jacobs did make some adjustments as the fight wore on. He was getting in touch with the right hand. So what I think he did was he tried to take the right hand away by either smothering it up close, or he got in the mid-range area a little bit, got down low, and dug to the body, and forced Sulecki to to keep that right hand home, to pin that elbow up against the side of his body to protect from that vicious left hook that Danny Jacobs was landing to the body. So big difference I think was the power. I think Sulecki could not really freeze Jacobs or stop him in his tracks or really hurt him. And a lot of people said, well, what if other guys landed that right hand? But, Golovkin did land that right hand, and Jacobs took it pretty well. I mean, Jacobs is a pretty durable guy. When he's always in shape. It comes to fight. I think Jacobs is a very well-rounded fighter. I think he's a big puncher. I think he did try for the knockout last night. He knocked Sulecki down in the last round. But Sulecki is crafty. He knows how to survive. He knows how to move pretty well. But I just think Jacobs had an advantage in every category. I think that he would always be one step ahead for the most part. And I think his punches carried a lot more weight and caused more damage. And I just think all around he was the better fighter. But that's no discredit to Sulecki. Sulecki, as Jacob said, proved that he belonged in there. And you said he belonged in there last week. So credit to you for, seeing it, and a lot of people didn't see it. So credit to you for really seeing it. And after you did say that, though, I did go back and watch Sulecki a little bit. I watched the fight that he had with Centeno, and I could see the skill there, but I just didn't think that he had enough athletic ability in terms of speed, power, and explosiveness to deal with Danny Jacobs. I just believed Danny Jacobs was a cut above in every category. But that's not to say Sulecki couldn't box pretty well from the outside. I think the big difference was, though, when Jacobs closed the gap a little bit and got in the trenches with them, dug the body shots, pushed them back. I thought Andre Roger made a real great point there, where he said that when you back this kid up and you force him to be on the defensive, he can't really counter you. And I think he was spot on with that assessment, because that was definitely a correct assessment as it showed.
All right. Let me ask you this, Beeb. The Jacobs and Charlo matchup, that's a good matchup. And
very, very good.
I see Charlo fight, like styles make fights. Jacobs is kind of tailor-made for those types of fights, for sluggers. And when I see Charlo, are we looking at like a Chris Eubank, Billy Joe Saunders type of fight?
In terms of maybe Jacobs being Billy Joe Saunders and Charlo being like Eubank, or how like in terms of that?
I'm seeing Charlo as a Eubank, where he's getting people out of there, but we don't know. He's never been tested, but he's never been in there with anybody as slow as Danny Jacobs.
So I'm gonna disagree, because as I said, when you really look at Charlo, he does a lot of things that average fighters don't do. Just how he can see openings and change and shorten up punches, on the fly. I think he's the goods. I really do. When I look at him and see how he fights, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and he capitalizes immediately on his opponent's mistakes, and he knows how to create openings. And once again, he's a guy who's well-rounded. Who's quick, who's powerful. I think he would be a very stern test for Danny Jacobs. It's a pick'em fight. I'd have to really think hard to say who I believe would win. But Danny Jacobs could be a little bit bigger and stronger than Charlo, but Charlo's a big guy too, so I don't know. It's a tough one, but I think Charlo definitely would have a shot at beating Danny Jacobs without question. I think he is the real deal.
Yeah.
My one question, guys, would these two guys be afraid of losing their rankings? And that would be one reason why this fight won't happen.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. They're not gonna. Because they're both. It's the fight that really
because they're both.
Right.
They're both mandatory challengers, So.
Yeah, I mean, they are both mandatory, and that's a fight really that should be made. I don't think it will be made though. Like I said, just because of both of their positions, they want the big money fight. But who gets that big money fight first? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Somebody in the chat just said that they think that Sulecki had won the fight. Listen, the fight was closer than HBO. I think the announcers were calling it. I had it 116, 111. The judges had it 116, 111, 117, and 115, 112. I don't know how you guys had it scored, but I had about 8 rounds to 4. I could see 7-5.
That's what I had, 8-4, yeah.
But I can't see.
I also had it 8-4, yeah.
Yeah, I can't see Sulecki winning that fight, though. I really can't. I just, as much as I wanted him to win and everything like that, I just couldn't see him winning that fight. But he gave him everything he wanted, that's for sure. So
Kellerman was saying how close the fight was while he was watching it, and he was, questioning whether or not maybe the judges would have it closer than Harold Letterman did. Because the rounds were not really overwhelmingly decisive, even when Jacobs won them. So
yeah. So all right, let's go on to the second fight here. Jarrell Big Baby Miller versus Johan Duhaupas, or Duhaupas, however you want to pronounce it. Jarrell Miller weighed in at 304 pounds for his fight with Johan Duhaupas and won a unanimous decision, 119-109 twice and 117-111. I'll be honest, man, I don't really know what else to say about him. I really don't. I think Ohio Runs Boxing, who's been in the chat before and everything like that. I saw a picture of him on Facebook, and he posted this thing, and I think it sums it up best. When Jarrell Miller comes on, he goes to the bathroom. So until the fight's over, he's not exciting. He's not. He doesn't stand any shot against Wilder. He doesn't stand any shot against Joshua. Coming in at 304 pounds, and I heard him say at the end of the interview in the last fight he came in light, and he didn't like that, and so he decided to put on more weight. Okay, that's what you think. Robert, you're a big fan of Baby Miller. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, Eric, I wish that he would get a fight against a Joshua or a Wilder or somebody that would teach him you cannot be over 300 pounds and be a successful boxer. This reminds me of Butterbean all over again. But we all knew when Butterbean fought, you all knew what kind of fight you were going to get.
Yeah.
This guy, I don't know whether he takes his career seriously or not. I mean, I don't see the day that we will ever have a heavyweight champion over 300 pounds. I can't take the guy seriously. They're talking about him being top 3, top 4, top 5 in the division. Really? I mean, yeah, he's knocked people out, but he had a guy in there last night that he took the whole distance and couldn't get rid of him. Didn't even hurt him. I don't see how this is good for boxing. Everybody teases me about me complaining about fighters' weights, but I don't think he looked very good. I mean, the announcers marveled at, oh, look at him. He's over 300 pounds. He's doing real good. It's not good for boxing. I mean, granted, heavyweights don't have a weight limit. I get it. But he seriously needs to be taught a lesson. He won a fight he was supposed to, but if he ever gets a shot against either one of those guys, he will lose.
Beeb, you're a fan of Jarrell Miller.
I really am. I'm not going to lie.
I know you are. No, I know you are. What are your thoughts on this? You said he looked good at the weigh-in. And like I said, he looks like he works out or whatever. He's 304 pounds, but I think when I saw him on fight night, he looked like 304 pounds in there.
Yeah. Roy Jones made a great point. I don't normally agree with Roy Jones, but he says if your stomach doesn't go past your chest, then you're really not a sloppy, out of shape type fat. Is he overweight? Without question. Is he heavy? Yes. Could he be lighter? Possibly. But my point is, I think he still does carry like a good amount of muscle mass. He's got a big chest, big shoulders, big back. Yeah, he doesn't. He does look like he does have some muscle to him, and he's in. I'm going to say this: you could argue that his stamina is better than Anthony Joshua's. The guy throws punches nonstop, and he doesn't get tired. And I like the way he fights. I thought that was a very entertaining fight last night. I thought Duhaupas is not a world beater, but he's a decent mid-level contender. I mean, this guy went rounds with Wilder. This guy went rounds with Povetkin. I believe he touched Wilder up a little bit before Wilder got him out of there. And I don't think Jarrell Miller really lost a round last night. I think he was punching nonstop. He was going to the body. He was making a lot of crafty moves. I loved how he would just constantly step off and throw a punch and then create a new punching angle for himself. Never stay in the same spot. I loved how he would throw those sneaky uppercuts on the inside. Loved how he got every time this guy makes a move. Like I talk about Andre Ward, and please, I'm not saying he's exactly like Andre Ward for other people saying, oh, he's not Andre Ward. But fighters that make defensive moves, as Max Kellerman was alluded to, but are still in position to counter and get their offense going. So he can switch from offense to defense and defense to offense very quickly on the fly. And he always will make a defensive move. He'll throw that jab. But he's always sliding and getting low underneath, so you can't counter over the top of his jab with a right hand. He'll see a shot, he'll roll it, and then he'll turn it right back in with a hook. I think this guy's a really, really crafty guy, and if he can get past 6 or 8 rounds with either one of these guys, Wilder or Joshua, I think he can make the fight interesting. Would I pick him to win? Honestly, I would give him a better shot against Joshua than I would against Wilder, because Joshua has a tendency to slow down later in the fight and hasn't really been throwing a ton of punches as of late. But either one of these guys could hurt Miller and possibly get him out of there. But Miller rolls shots. He'll catch a right hand, but he'll roll it. Sometimes he'll brace himself, or he'll lean back a little bit or roll. I just think the guy can fight. I think he's constantly changing up the looks. He's a hard guy to get a read on if you're his opponent, because the way he just sets up punches and he's not loading up with every shot, but when he decides to dig in, he'll get your attention. I think he hurt Duhaupas last night. I think he did well. I don't think he showed any any evidence of not being a good fighter last night. I think he represented himself pretty well. And I don't think he made any mistakes, and I think he fought very well. I don't think that in terms of boxing ability, there's much to criticize him about, to be perfectly honest with you. I know Linda didn't like his ring attire. She said to me, "Why is this guy wearing a tutu?" I said that's just the garb that some fighters wear, like Hector Camacho used to wear that type of ring attire. Same thing with Vinny Pazienza, but Linda got a kick out of that. But the trunk, she said, "Why is this guy wearing a tutu? Why is he wearing a dress?" And I said, "Linda, please, But it is what it is. But I like Big Baby Miller, and I marvel at him being so well conditioned at such a heavy weight and not getting tired. I mean, you never see the guy fight with his mouth open. You never see the guy take deep breaths in there. He just doesn't fade. I think the Wilder fight would be a little bit more difficult, because Wilder is a guy that doesn't fade either. But Joshua, you see him slow down. You see him get tired. And you see sometimes he can be outworked in certain situations. But you know, he would still be the underdog against both those guys. But I think he'd have a better shot against Joshua as opposed to Wilder because of the styles.
I couldn't disagree with you more. I think Joshua murks this guy. I mean, within 6 rounds. I don't even think that fight's close.
I can't take the guy seriously. I mean, yeah, he's got good skills, but I don't know.
I think if we look past the
I'm
physical,
a skeptic.
I think if we try to look past the physical and just look at the fighter in his ability, I don't know. Like in terms of what he does in the ring, what do you guys not like? Like he doesn't get hit a lot. He's pretty solid defensively. He's a good combination puncher. He's got some decent pop. He's not a huge puncher, but he can get guys' attention. Like what in terms of boxing?
Why is he not a huge puncher, Beeb? This is a 300-pound guy. You caught him with that uppercut. He should have flattened that guy.
Well, Duapis is a durable guy. I mean, Wilder hit him with everything, but the kitchen sink.
But when a 300-pounder hits you like that, he should have gone. There's no question about it, man.
I think that's a misconception though sometimes because like Buster Mathis was another fighter who wasn't a big puncher. Not every guy that's like Michael Weaver wasn't a huge puncher. He looked like an Adonis.
Yeah.
I just think punchers are born. I don't think they're made. I think you have to be gifted with power. Like I don't think it's so much about. I'm not saying weight and physique doesn't play something into it, but you know, not all big guys and big strong guys are solid punches.
And I think the other thing is too, I want to see like what he does when he gets backed up and when he gets backed up like the entire fight, when he's not the aggressor. And let's see how long that stamina lasts then.
Well, he kind of, if you watched, you know, he would kind of, you know, get pushed back a little bit in fights, and he's kind of a counterpunch. Oh, you're trying to see? You mean like when he gets backed up and he's hurt?
What's he going to do against the pressure guy? What's he going to do?
Pressure guy that's kind of like pushing him back against his will. So it's
right, exactly. That's going to.
Oh, I get you. That's a fair point, Eric. I mean, I can't discredit that. I mean, that's a fair point.
That's what I wonder. You know, and like I said, I mean, this guy. I mean, he's got potential. There's no question about it. You know, you look at him and there's things that he does that you like what you see. But what I don't like is him coming up in that high in weight.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's not healthy. It's not good for the joints. It's not good for the heart. I agree with that.
Yeah, you're right. And it's not good for his movement either. And it's not going to be good for his stamina. And right now he's fighting guys that he can control the pace on. What's he going to do? Because we always talk about this. What's he going to do when you have to fight a guy who controls the pace on you? You know.
But would you consider him a slow fighter? Like his movement in there, watching him move around, does he look slow to you?
You know what he reminds me of? He almost and you know, obviously this is like not a great comparison, but he reminds me a lot of James Toney in the style, where Toney could come in there way overweight or way above the weight he fought at. But the thing about it is he never got hit and he never got tired because he always fought at his pace. You know what I mean? That's kind of what Miller reminds me of. Now, as far as defensive skills and offensive skills, I mean, there's really no comparison there. But what I'm saying, the comparison-wise, is the way they handle the fight itself.
Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of.
Yeah. I just like the fact that he's constantly moving his hands and he's very creative with his offense, and he doesn't stand right in front of guys. I just think he's got a slickness. He's got a slickness and caginess to him that I really like as a fighter. He's got some old school tricks up his sleeve, and I like that about him, to be honest.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, he's got an upside to him. He's got a potential. Yeah. But you know, he's got a.
You think he gets blown out against Joshua though? You don't think he can make it interesting or make it entertaining, or you think it's just?
No, I think
you don't think he can do anything that Parker did? You don't think he can do anything comparable to Parker?
He's got to lose about 50 pounds is what he's got to do.
Oh, why are you fat shaming him? Look at you. What about his personality,
I mean,
Robert?
I'm sorry.
I think he's beautiful. What if he's beautiful on the inside, Robert? Doesn't that matter?
Robert?
What if he's beautiful on the inside?
Come on.
He helped that girl. That girl had.
Yeah. Come on, give him a break, will you? Please.
Running him over like that.
Yeah. No, that was a good story, but come on. This is if you're going to fight for the heavyweight champion, you got to take it seriously. And when you come in weighing over 300 pounds, it shows me you're not taking things seriously. I'm sorry.
Hey, got a point. Got a point. All right. Just a reminder, if you guys like what we're doing and like what we're talking about and everything like that, go ahead and give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Beating the Odds with Beeb and subscribe to Ringside Reporter on iTunes and all that other good stuff. So just makes us feel good. Makes us feel good seeing the thumbs up and getting all the subscriptions. All right. Let's talk about the top rank on ESPN. Jesse Magdaleno versus Isaac Dogpo. Dogpo wins via TKO in round 11 over Jesse Magdaleno. Robert, what were your thoughts on this fight?
Well, as I told you before we went on the air, Magdaleno came out in the first 4 rounds and looked rather good. He even knocked the guy down in the first round, and it looked like it was going to be an easy night. And then he got hit with a hellacious right hand in the 5th, went down, and basically was never the same throughout the fight. He ended up getting knocked down, I think, 3 times, and finally the referee had to stop it in the 11th. I mean, it was almost like as soon as he got knocked down in the 5th, it totally turned the fight around, and the other guy just took over, and Magdaleno had no answer. Absolutely no answer whatsoever. It was like almost 2 completely different fights. The first 4 rounds were all Jesse, and the last 7 were Dogbo. So, you know, congratulations to him. He did what he went in there, and he wasn't supposed to win, and he did. So, you know, and they're already talking about a rematch, so we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, we'll see. Bryant Jennings versus Joey DeWecco. Jennings won a unanimous decision, 98-92 on all 3 cards. Jesse Hart wins a 7th round TKO over Demond Nicholson. And Shakur Stevenson wins via 2nd round TKO over Patrick Riley. So Shakur Stevenson, was he on the card? I didn't see him on.
No,
he was off camera, right?
You had to watch that on the ESPN Plus app, which that reminds me,
talk
folks.
About this, yeah.
I hope you like spending money, because if you want to see Terrence Crawford and Jeff Horn on June 9th, you're not going to get it on your TV. You have to watch it on your phone, the ESPN Plus app. That is going to be their version of pay-per-view. It's $4.99 a month. And they said they're going to show all kinds of fights exclusively to the app. You're not going to have them on TV. So you have to decide, do you want to spend more money? My answer is no, I don't.
Not buying it. You know, we spend a lot of money on DirecTV as it is. And then plus the pay-per-views.
Yeah, we do.
Plus whatever, you know, and then subscriptions. You know, I'm not paying for ESPN. I've got ESPN. I pay for ESPN now. Why am I gonna buy another subscription to ESPN and buy this stupid app for $5 a month? I'm not doing it.
The only thing that tempted me to sign up for this was being able to watch like the UK fights, because supposedly there was supposed to be UK fights on this app as well too. But,
like the Sky app?
Yeah, they're gonna put UK fights on, and
but
all over the place.
But let me make this point, because there's a rumor going around that Eddie Hearn's got a big announcement, and I've been doing some research, and Comcast is in the process of purchasing Sky. So if that deal does go through, and it ties into Eddie Hearn's big announcement, we could be watching a lot of UK boxing on our package. Well, I have Comcast, so I don't know how it would affect DirecTV. But imagine if we got some. I know we have BBC. I don't know if you guys have BBC, but imagine if we could get Sky and we could watch boxing. Imagine if that package was offered to us. That would be amazing.
We get the BBC News stuff. We don't get BBC anything else, Beeb. So,
okay.
But I'd love to have access to Sky. That would be great.
But I have a feeling that's going to be the big announcement, and I think that I don't know for sure, but I'm kind of leaning that way, that it's going to go that way, because Comcast has made a bid to buy Sky. I think it was I don't know how many.
Well, and Fox is also in the bidding for Sky, also, Beeb.
Yeah, but I think Comcast is probably going to get it. I think it was like, I want to say 65 billion or something like that. I don't know if that sounds right, but Yeah, they're looking to purchase them, and if that does go through, then I would assume that we have access to a lot of Sky programming, and boxing is a big part of Sky programming. So
that would be pretty cool.
but Hearn does have a big announcement. I'm wondering if I'm
well,
really
it's got to be right.
Curious if that's the announcement. Yeah.
I mean, what else could it be? I mean, it's got to be, right. I mean, what's he going to announce? He's not going to announce the Wilder Joshua fight, so it's got to be that. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the.
I mean, and let's face it, guys. Terrence Crawford is going to win that title. I don't suspect that fight is going to be competitive. But why would we want to spend? Granted, Tim Bradley kept going on about, well, everybody paid $100 for Mayweather Pacquiao. They can pay $5 for this. Well, Tim, you pay $5 if you want, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, it is.
Who the fuck is Jeff Horn?
Oh, come on, Robert. Come on. All right. The WBC, actually, you know what? I skipped over, probably with good reason. Jason's favorite, Al Heyman, and the boys, PBC, were on Fox this weekend and put on 2 fights. Josecito Lopez versus Miguel Cruz. Lopez beats Miguel Cruz by unanimous decision, 99-89 twice and 98-90. Anthony Durrell versus A.B. Hahn. Durrell dropped Hahn in the first round and then went on to win the unanimous decision 100-89, 99-90, and 99-90. So pretty much all I got to say about that card. Robert, you watched it. Anything else to report?
There was 3 fights on the card. The first one was a 33-second knockout in the first round. So, a great use of a good platform, Fox. A major network, and you put fights on like this, and people wonder, why people get all over the PBC. They put all their good stuff on Showtime, and they give a shit for regular TV.
Yeah, but that ESPN card wasn't so good the other night either, though.
No, but it was on ESPN.
No, granted, Beeb, it wasn't, but I believe the Fox card was.
Oh, it was regular Fox. Yeah,
it was on regular Fox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, regular Fox. Yeah.
Oh, my apologies.
All right, the WBC Invitational.
Yeah, it was regular Fox.
This is interesting. This took place in Louisville, Kentucky, and for the tournament they had open scoring and 5 judges for each fight. Francisco Santana won a majority decision over Felix Diaz. Francisco Santana, of course, friend of the show, by the scores of 95-95, 96-94, 98-92, 3 times. Chris Van Heerden wins a unanimous decision. Chris Van Heerden, of course, friend of the show. You noticing a pattern here? He won a unanimous decision by the scores of 98-92, 3 times, and 97-93 twice. Frederick Lawson outpointed Banshambo Nasuwila over 10 tactical rounds. Scores were 99-91. Listen, it was a unanimous decision. I'm not going to read all 5 scores. Brad Solomon scored a 10-round split decision over Paddy Gallagher. So there you go. Now the semis are set. Francisco Santana, friend of the show, versus Brad Solomon will be the first one. Chris Van Heerden versus Frederick Lawson. Chris Van Heerden, of course, friend of the show. Look at that, Robert. We have 2 friend of the shows in the semifinals. Are we good luck or what?
If they keep winning, I mean, they might wind up fighting each other. So that would be interesting.
That's it. It could be a Ringside Reporter final. How about that?
Yeah.
Nobody thinks like that except me. All right. Across the pond, 1 fight to report. Bradley Skeet versus Kerman Lajaraga. Maybe. Lajaraga wins via TKO in round 2. So there you go. Beeb, I know we've seen Bradley Skeet fight. Have you seen Lajaraga? Is that how?
I'm sorry, I have not.
I haven't either, but he's undefeated. He apparently looks pretty good. 2nd round TKO, so 5 minutes in. So there it is. All right. Let's talk about I'll tell you what, let's talk about the upcoming fights, and we're going to go to the phones real quick, and then we'll talk about the news. We'll jump into the news.
Yeah, upcoming fights. Yep.
All right. Let's see what we got here. See, I should have had it queued up, and I didn't. I'm slacking today. What am I going to do? All right. May 4th, Friday, right, Robert?
That's correct.
On ESPN2, Ryan Garcia versus Jason Velez. This is a Golden Boy card. 10 rounds, junior lightweights,
And that should be a decent fight, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spike O'Sullivan versus Berlin Abreu, 10 rounds, middleweights. So there you go. You can look forward to that. May 5th, the big one. May 5th. In London, Tony Bellew versus David Haye, the rematch, 12 rounds, heavyweights. And let's see here. Joe Joyce is also on that card versus Lenroy Thomas. Joshua Buatsi versus TBA. I want to see that guy again. He's always must see. Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Paul Butler for the vacant IBF bantamweight title also. From Carson, California on Cinco de Mayo, Gennady Golovkin, Triple G versus Vanes Martirosyan. 12 rounds for Golovkin's WBA and WBC middleweight title. Also on the undercard that will be televised on HBO. I believe this is a first, right? Cecilia Breakhouse versus Kali Reese or Kali Rise maybe. 10 rounds for Breakhouse.
Kali Reese, I think.
Or I think you're probably right. Breakhouse's WBA, WBC, WBO, and IBF women's welterweight title. Just a quick question. Do you think Katie Taylor, who won last night, who's a lightweight, will move up and challenge Breakhouse?
Eric, in my opinion, I believe that's what HBO is pointing towards.
Okay.
Because why else would you show Katie Taylor highlights and promote Cecilia Breakout? I think HBO is pointing towards that, and I think that makes sense.
Yeah, because Katie Taylor's good. She is a solid fighter, man. She really is. She's made that transition pretty seamless. So there you go. And that's the fights on next week. Let's talk about the Haye versus Bellew rematch. Beeb, what are your thoughts on this?
You were, again, I'm kind of gassing you up this week, but you were spot on with that one too. And I'm going to say this. David Haye had the injury, I believe, in the 5th round, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was at the end of the 5th round, and then it kind of had an effect on him in the 6th round from there on, right?
Right.
I'll be perfectly honest with you. If I can remember, because my scorecard was on my last phone, and I didn't carry over. But I after 5, I want to say I had Bellew up 3-2. I thought Bellew was winning the fight. I thought it was close. I thought Bellew was winning the fight, or if you had Haye winning, you couldn't have him up by more than a point. So Bellew was holding his own before the injury. He was boxing well. David Haye was missing by a mile with a lot of punches, and he did land one big shot. I think it was a left hook, and Bellew took it like it was nothing. And I think that Bellew proved to me that he's probably maybe a better technically gifted fighter, or skilled fighter, I should say, than David Haye. And David Haye was trying to swing for the fences. And Bellew's in probably better condition, may not look it physically, but I think his stamina probably better than David Haye's. And I think David Haye is a mid-range guy who likes to leap in and out, sort of like Jean Pascal leaps in with that hook, likes to land those mid-range punches. But Bellew can box very well from the outside. And I think David Haye isn't a great outside fighter. He's a mid-range guy. That's where he's most dangerous, particularly with that left hook. So I think Bellew realized that, and he tried to box and move from the outside, and didn't, stay in one spot, didn't stay in the pocket too long, picked and chose his spots very well, and he fought very intelligently. So people are going to point to the injury, but I still think Bellew was holding his own, and I had him up after 5. So there's no reason for me to believe that Bellew can't hang in this rematch, and that all of a sudden David Haye is going to just blow through Tony Bellew. That wasn't a fluke to me, and I was shocked seeing how well Bellew fought in that first fight, and how effective he was, and how he was able to deal with David Haye's power in that fight, and how he made David Haye miss like that by a mile. Because I thought David Haye would be more explosive, and he'd be the quicker guy, and I thought he would be able to get to Bellew a lot better, and I thought when he did get to Bellew, he'd have more of an effect on him. But I was wrong. And so there's no reason for me to believe that, Bellew can't win the rematch. Will David Haye be better? Maybe, but David Haye is getting older. He's still an injury-prone guy, and a lot of those injuries that he's suffered over the career, I'm sure they've had an effect on his body, because once you injure yourself, you tear something, it never comes back 100%. And David Haye has been getting older, hasn't been fighting top-level guys since his comeback. And Tony Bellew's fought solid guys all along. He's never really taken soft touches, never taken long string of fights with soft touches. No, he's always fought decent guys, tough guys. So I'm going to pick Bellew in the rematch. I think Bellew's fresher. I think he showed that he has better boxing skills than David Haye. I think he's better technically than David Haye. And he fought smart, whereas David Haye sometimes fights off of emotion. He gets that adrenaline flowing. He wants to rip your head off, and he loads up with every shot. Tony Bellew doesn't do that. So I think we'll see a more poised, a real cerebral Tony Bellew. I think he'll put on a real comprehensive performance, just as he did in the first fight in the rematch. And I don't think David Haye can all of a sudden turn into that technical boxer, that guy. I mean, he's like Pascal. He's that unorthodox guy, that likes to go in and out. That's his style. And he's like that Roy Jones. Those are those types of guys who rely on their explosiveness and their athletic ability, but he's getting older now. His body has been broken down a little bit. I don't think he can rely on that anymore. And his style does not transcend well, into an older fighter's career. So I'm going to pick Bellew.
Robert, what about you? And by the way, Beeb, I think that was a great comparison between John Pascal and
thank you.
I hit it. I hit it the first time. I'm going to do it again. I think this time, since Bellew's already had one fight with Haye, I think this time he'll just blow right through him. I think David Haye is done, and I think Tony Bellew will get rid of him rather quickly.
It wouldn't surprise me. I'm taking Bellew. I took Bellew in the first fight. I'm taking Bellew in the second fight. I mean, David Haye, he twisted his ankle or broke his hip. Then he whatever he did, he injured himself coming up steps. He was walking up steps and he injured it. Son, he's ready to go. I don't know why he's still in there. He's ready to go. And I think Bellew might get him. I think Bellew beats him pretty sound, or he gets him out of there, one of the two. But yeah. The way
that's right.
It's going to be Bellew in this fight, man. All right, let's talk about the Triple G Vanes Martirosyan fight. Not a whole lot to talk about here, man. Martirosyan hasn't fought in 2 years. He's coming off 3 losses or something crazy. He's coming off. I don't know how many losses. He's coming off a couple losses, maybe.
I think the last fight he had was against Laura 2 years ago, and he lost.
So I mean, it is what it is. Can't really blame Triple G too much for this. I got to be honest. A lot of people were saying that he should have fought this guy, he should have fought that guy. Listen, if the money's not there, you got training. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it, man. And at the end of the day, at least he's fighting. I mean, we bash guys like Thurman, Garcia, and everybody like that for not fighting. This guy fights and he gets bashed. So, I mean, it is what it is.
And I give Tom Loeffler a lot of credit, Eric. He's come out several times and says, "Look, we've tried to make all the fights. This is the only one that we could put together."
Right. He couldn't make the Charlo fight. Charlo was fighting. It just is what it is. There's nothing they can do. So I think he runs through Vanes Martirosyan, and I think it's a good fight for him because he's a guy that likes to stay busy. He's getting older, so he needs to stay busy. Beeb, anything to add here? Are you picking Martirosyan?
This is a situation that I hate in boxing, where I just can't get excited for a fight, and I can't really say anything good about an event. I feel bad that I can't do that, and it's kind of unfair for me to do that to Vanes Martirosyan, because he's a really good guy. He's a solid fighter. He's a very skilled fighter, but this is just the wrong fight for him, and it's just at the wrong weight, and I just don't see any conceivable way that he wins this fight. I can't even formulate it in my head. I just can't.
Yeah. All right. let's go to the phones now. Remember, we got a lot of topics and everything like that, so just keep your points short and concise. And we're going to go to the first phone call here, 706. Let's see if we can cue up.
No intro? Where's my intro, man? Come on.
There we go. Al Heyman at his finest. He's a fucking mental case, is what he is.
Robbie, you fucking thankless prick. Al Heyman has one slow week and you're all over him? Come on, man.
That was awful. It was awful.
What's terrible?
Pathetic.
Defend it. Defend it. He's your boy.
I think they're just trying to finish out their dates. They're giving some less known guys fights, so they don't have to pay them too much. But that's what I think they're doing. They're just trying to finish out their dates on Fox. That's what it seems like.
Al Heyman's car on a weekly basis. You clean his house. You wash his laundry.
Al Heyman doesn't drive, Eric.
You drive him.
He rides the Segway. He doesn't drive. He rides the Segway. Al Heyman rides the Segway. He doesn't drive.
Break a hip on that. Go ahead.
Subway, yeah.
Subway.
No, the Segway. The Segway.
Right. Oh my God. Anyway, what's on your mind, Jason?
Nothing.
What's on my mind is, man, how is everybody talking about where is Wilder getting this $50 million from? Where is this money coming from? I mean, did they forget who Wilder's manager or advisor is? Al Heyman? I mean, this guy just did a $500 million fight. Like, I don't even think less than a year ago. Right. Did we forget that? That guy probably made $50 million personally from that fight. I mean, if he really wanted to put it up, would it be really that hard for him to bring $50 million together?
I don't know. We'll talk about it. We got that topic on the list.
We are talking about it. Tell me, am I wrong, Eric? Tell me, am I wrong?
Yeah, you're wrong. 100% wrong.
Wrong about what?
100% wrong.
Wrong about what?
Wilder's not the money man.
Wrong about what?
I just told you. He doesn't have 50
Who
million.
said Wilder's the money man? We're talking about Al Heyman. Al Heyman, the man that runs the show. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Al Heyman's not running anything because he's not involved in the talks.
What?
He's not involved in the
Al
talks.
Heyman is the one who wrote that offer up. He let Wilder send it because he's not a camera-hungry fame whore like Eddie. He doesn't need to be up in front of the camera all the time. Like, I'm sending the offer. He doesn't need the credit.
Al Heyman.
Of course, Al Heyman drew up that offer.
He did. Great. And you of course have proof of that, right?
You're saying Wilder drew up that offer? Really? Hey, Beeb, do you think Wilder could come up with an offer like that with his dumbass himself? Do you think Wilder could do that?
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, and I can't speak factually. I think that Heyman had a lot to do with it. I don't think he wrote it up 100% himself. I think Heyman and Finkel probably worked on it together. And that's the thing. Like, people are saying, oh, it was an offer from Wilder. No, it wasn't an offer from Wilder per se. It was basically, was it a PR stunt? Absolutely. But because something is a PR stunt, promotion is a PR stunt. You're looking to promote. What does PR stand for?
Right, let's talk about it. Jason, let me put you back on hold. Here. All right, let's talk about this for a minute, because this really actually this kind of bothers me here. So what we're talking about is Wilder offered Anthony Joshua, and this is our train wreck of the week. So, Beeb, it's time.
Brianna, you gonna do a train wreck? I'm gonna have to do it. She's not around.
Oh, Jesus.
Check it.
What about Elaine?
Check it. That was awesome.
Oh my God.
Since I got rid of that.
That was terrible. That makes me never want.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Oh my God.
Terrible.
Hurry up, do it.
Awful.
Do it. Do it. Do the train wreck. We need you. Do it. Come on, please. Hurry up. Hurry up. You're ruining it. Do it.
Chugga, 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 choo choo.
All right.
She has completely
There
saved
you
the
go.
show.
That was the real one. That was the real
Has
one.
completely saved the show. Unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my God.
It gets it out of my head now that the Beeb.
I didn't let her do that. She would have been crying for the rest of the night. She loves doing that. I don't know what it is. She loves doing that. That's like her Super Bowl.
Anyway, let's go.
Right. All right. So Wilder took to social media to offer Anthony Joshua $50 million for a fight. The offer, it's a very good offer. I got to be honest with you, man. It's a 50-50 split, but a guaranteed $50 million. $50 million guarantee. Also 50% for Joshua. So if the fight, and what that means is this, if the fight does better than expected, Joshua would get more money. And so, like, if the fight does like 100 million pay-per-view buys, then Joshua would clearly get more than 50 million. So there's an upside to it, but he would never get less than 50 million if the fight tanks. All right.
So this fight's headed for pay-per-view, right, Eric?
It's gotta. I mean, it has to. I mean, when you're talking that much money, it has to be on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn put out an interview, and he said he was concerned about where the funds were coming from. This is a legit question. And is this a legit offer, or is it just posturing? That I don't know. I can't answer that. Now, everybody says, well, Al Heyman's back in Wilder, and that seems to be the consensus. Listen, great. Then talk to somebody. You know, you don't make an offer over Instagram and then say, and then I read somewhere today where Wilder says, well, you know, accept the fight and then we'll show you proof of funds and everything like that. Listen, are we playing games here? Either you got it or you don't. This is the same thing that happened.
Well,
hold on, Robert. This is the same thing that happened with Manny Pacquiao. Hang tight.
Here's the problem with a lot of these PBC guys, Eric.
Go ahead.
You know, they don't have promoters, you know?
Right. So this is the same thing that happened to Manny Pacquiao when he was offered X amount of dollars, X amount of millions to fight in Saudi Arabia or wherever, or the United Arab Emirates or something like that. So, you know, and it turns out there was no money. The fight never happened because there was no money. It was a fictional offer. All right. So now does Heyman have 50 million to throw around? Maybe. Yeah, he probably does. He spent that money on the Conor and Floyd fight. Okay. But the fact is, listen, if he's serious, have Heyman contact Matchroom. That's how deals get done. It doesn't get done with one guy posturing. That's no different than if I have a rich uncle who has $1 million. And I say to Beeb, I'm going to bet $50,000. I'm going to bet you $50,000 on the Bellew fight. Okay. Well, Eric, do you have $50,000? Well, my uncle does. Well, where's your uncle at? Well, he doesn't know about it yet, but I talked to him a little bit, and he might know about it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm good for it. No, that's not how things work. If you want to get this fight done, handle it like a man. Have Heyman handle it the right way. Have Heyman or whoever's going to drop the money, have them contact Matchroom and go from there. It's not going to get made on social media. If you're doing all this, it's nonsense. All right, and Beeb, so you disagree with this. So
I don't disagree with it entirely. Okay. Let me give you my whole thoughts on this subject. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I have, and may sound crazy to somebody, or you may call me an idiot, and that's fine. I welcome the criticism. I have zero doubt in my mind that they don't have that $50 million. Al Heyman was able to broker a deal from a hedge fund to get $500 million up front with no questions asked.
That's right.
He brokered a deal for $300 million with Showtime for Floyd Mayweather. He also was involved and very instrumental in making one $600 million fight and another $580 million fight. So if anyone has the ability to get someone to invest something or to generate funds, it's this man. So the big thing here is what Team Wilder wants. The big problem, and here's another problem. I have to make this point. They did schedule 2 meetings, and they canceled them.
Really? Okay, so they didn't meet.
They didn't meet. I'm not on board with that. They should have, if they scheduled the meetings, they should have figured something out. But here's the thing. Everyone's talking about, this isn't how things get done. This isn't really the official negotiations. This is just back and forth banter. It's PR. It is PR. You need PR to hype up the fight. This is just to get people talking. And there's nothing wrong with that. The real negotiations will be behind closed doors. They won't have a camera in there where they can, film it, and it's not going to get posted on YouTube or Instagram. No one's going to see the real negotiations. This is just the precursor. This is the back and forth banter. It's to hype the fight, whatever.
If I can interject here, I'll be honest with you. I don't think either side wants to fight right now.
No, I think both sides want the fight. Both sides want the fight.
Both sides don't want the fight right now.
I think they do, and I'll tell you the problem here. What Team Wilder wants is they just want assurances that at least before we get started, that the $50 million is okay, and because we're giving the $50 million like you asked for, that you're going to hold true to your 50-50 split. Because each side, before any, like when Mayweather and Pacquiao, before they even sat down, Mayweather needed to know, Pacquiao, will you take the drug test? They did not sit down until Pacquiao said, yes, I will take the drug tests. Mm-hmm. They did not sit down until Pacquiao said, yes, I will take the shorter end of the deal. They did not sit down, until Pacquiao and his team agreed that Showtime was going to be involved and it was going to be televised. So there are non-negotiable deal points that have to be agreed to before two sides sit down. And no one sends a contract over because a contract is between two or more parties. I can't send you over a contract if I don't know everything you want. So what needs to be done is the non-negotiable deal points need to be brought to the table first, because if they can't get past the acceptance of this $50 million, and then they sit down and Joshua says, oh no, I didn't mean $50 million, I meant 50 million pounds. If they can't get past that point, then when they sit down, they're not going to go anywhere. They're going to be stuck on that one point. You at least have to get past the non-negotiable parts of the deal. Like Eddie Hearn knows that he can't phase out Sky. So he's got to say, okay, we'll take the 50 million. We'll take the 50-50 split. But, we're not going to go all over the world with press tours. I don't want, Joshua's training affected. We have to still, be affiliated with Sky. Sky has to be part of this. So once you agree to that, then that's fine. Like Eddie Hearn just says, oh no, I'm not going to agree to that. What are they going to have me do to get that 50 million? What are we going to have to do? They're not asked. They're going to tell you that when you accept the 50 million. They just need to know, is this going to be the right amount? It's like like I used the example with the job interview. You put your resume out there, someone calls you up, and you talk to them on the phone, right? Will you accept this job? Yes, but this is my salary requirements. They can't meet your salary requirements, then you're not going to go on the interview. When you're looking to buy a house, you make an offer to buy the house. If the house is listed for $800,000, you say, well, I only want all I got is $780. That's my offer. We're not going to meet because I want $800,000. The starting point has to get, the hurdle has to be jumped over first before you can actually sit down. What's the sense of sitting down if you can't agree on the most important facets of the deal? No one sends over a contract. No one just says, because a contract takes time. You're not going to sit there and have a lawyer drop a contract. You're not going to sit there, and drop a contract and have to redo it 10 times because we haven't heard your side yet. The contract is the last thing that gets done. So, we haven't seen a contract yet. You don't send contracts over. You have to have the deal points. So Eddie Hearn should have said, I will agree to the 50 million if you don't try to phase Sky out and you don't send us all over the world. Whatever the concerns were, you could have responded to the email, yes, I accept the 50 million contingent upon these things. And then you sit down and you work out the rest. I don't doubt for 1 second they have he knows they have the 50 million. But you know what? Listen to the interviews. Oh, well, they're not going to whore out Anthony Joshua, give us 50 million and whore out Anthony Joshua. So what is Sky doing to Anthony Joshua? Okay, like no, that's what sponsorship is. You're getting paid to do a service. You know what I'm saying? Like if you have Under Armour is paying Anthony Joshua, are they whoring him out? No. So the thing is I don't think Eddie Hearn wants to give up control of this promotion. And Eddie Hearn knows that this fight, I'm not saying it's a $100 million fight, but if it's Showtime is involved and it's in a Vegas casino, he knows this fight does more money with Showtime's pay-per-view arm putting it on pay-per-view. He knows it does more money if it's in a Vegas casino. If it's just a straight UK fight, it's not a $100 million fight. But if it's in the US, it has the potential to be an $80 million fight, in my opinion. Maybe a $90 million, maybe a $100 million fight, maybe. So that's the thing. Eddie Hearn does not want to lose control of this promotion because he says, oh, well, we don't want you guys to be able to tell Anthony Joshua what to do. Anthony Joshua wants to have some input on this, what's going on. Well, I thought it was about the funds. I thought it was about the money. If this is the best deal for your fighter financially by doing it this way, then who cares who's in control? It's not like he's going to give up his promotional contract with you or anything like that. He does not want this fight to succeed, and him not being able to take credit for it. That's what it's about, in my opinion. That's what it's about. I don't doubt for 1 second they have the $50 million. Of course they have to verify the funds, but I have no doubt that they can't. Well, I think Al Heyman can get that money in a second. He can make a phone call and get that money and fucking put it in a suitcase and drop it on their lap. I just believe that. And anyone can call me an idiot if they want, but I believe that. This guy's, even if the PBC, like people are saying, has failed, right? Oh, they blew 500 million, whatever the case. Number one, it wasn't his money, but number two, look at all of the other successes. Look at, there's been over $1 billion of other successes. So he's still successful on a whole. The Pacquiao and McGregor fights, the $300 million Showtime deal, the Canelo Mayweather fight. You put all of those accomplishments up against possibly losing some money on PBC, and that totally erases that. He's still in the black. This guy's successful. I mean, whether or not I like everything he does or I like every single PBC show, there's one thing I cannot deny. This guy knows how to generate big deals. He puts on the best. He's been involved in the 4 biggest deals, and one of his deals has a record in the UK. Mayweather McGregor is, like I said before, is the record in the UK for pay-per-views. This is all about being afraid to lose control of the situation, and then and then not being able to take credit for the event when it does do well, because they can minimize your impact. They can minimize your impact on this whole promotion by taking control, and he doesn't want that to happen. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Eric. Or go, Robbie. Whoever wants to jump in.
Go ahead, Robert.
I got a serious question here. Joshua has a real promoter, and Deontay Wilder Robbie? Never had a real promoter.
Who cares?
Does that make the negotiations more difficult because
no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. The other side doesn't have real representation.
They do have representation. Al Heyman is probably the most powerful man in the sport right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Who doesn't want that on their side?
Yeah.
Whether his title says promoter, advisor, or I don't freaking ninja. It doesn't matter. He gets the deals done.
Okay.
That's irrefutable. He gets the deals done. And Hearn knows that. And he's afraid of that. He's afraid that they can turn around and say, we did this without you. Oh, you said this wasn't going to do 100 million? Well, we did it without you. We made it 100 million. Eddie Hearn's changing his tune now. Oh yeah, this could be bigger in the United States. Oh, I don't question. He even said I don't question the fact that they can get the 50 million, but he's changing his tune. What do we have to do to get that 50 million? What do we have to give up? He doesn't want to lose control. He knows they have the money. He knows it. Well, he knows they have the money.
I agree with you, and I agree that Heyman can get the $50 million in a heartbeat. Nope, I don't think there's any question about it. He can absolutely make it happen. If he made McGregor Mayweather happen, he'll make this happen. It's not a huge deal for him. The problem I have is that they asked Eddie Hearn, and he went over the details of the contract. He says it's a 50-50 split. We're not interested in that. But what we are interested in is the 50 million guarantee and the 50%. We're interested in that. So that kind of goes by the wayside. They want to be in control. He said that so we won't be the primary promoters. He said that's not a deal breaker either. He said that him being how did they put it? He said they really wanted the fight to take place in the UK. That was kind of the big thing. He said with the way it is now, what they got. He said that Wilder would choose a spot which is going to be in Vegas. I would assume. I can't imagine it's going to generate that much in New York. It'll generate more in Vegas. I would assume. So that's where it's going. They really want the fight to take place in UK. But again, it's not a sticking point. It's not a deal breaker. We can all talk about this. What more do we need? He's accepted the offer. I don't understand. That's an exception. That he's accepting the offer there. So I don't think it's too much to say, okay, show me the money. Where you don't have $50 million, who's running your show? Then that's when we get Heyman involved, and that's when we get things done. My thing is, and somebody in the chat alluded to it too, I don't think either guy wants to fight right now. Both fighters want the fight, but both fighters are going to have an interim fight before this. Both. Why would he, if he wants to fight so bad, why would they cancel those 2 meetings? Why would he cancel 2 meetings to meet with Eddie Hearn while he's in New York?
I don't like the fact they did that, but I will say this. It's like this. Like they don't want to get stuck on that issue. Oh, well, we didn't mean 50 million. We meant 50 million pounds. Well, we can't give up the 50-50 now. Oh, no. They want to at least get past that sticking point before they sit down. That's my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like Team Mayweather did not sit down with Team Pacquiao until they agreed to take the drug test, until they agreed to take the shorter end of the percentage. Like you have to at least, but the problem is they did schedule the meetings. That's I don't agree with that. If you schedule the meetings, then you go to them. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't have scheduled the meetings. So there's contradiction on both sides. Don't get me wrong. But what aggravates me is what Eddie says when he's on these interviews. Whoa, of course it's a great offer, but we're not going to just give up everything and let them tell us what to do. They could tell us to go all over the world. Yeah, but those statements tell me that you don't want to lose control. They're not going to tell us what to do. We want to be the boss. That's just how I see it.
All right, let's go to the phones here. 812. I think this is Joe in Indiana, maybe. 812, you're live.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
Joey.
Hey, Joe, what's up?
I saw you at the fights, man. I saw the pictures on Facebook, man. That's pretty cool. You had good seats, man.
Oh yeah. That's the one good thing I like about the cars that come to Louisville. Like they're very the price really well. So we had some great seats, man. Had some great seats. Only thing I would say, Eric, is I can see why like big time promoters don't come to the area because the people in the cities don't support, man. It was a very thin crowd there, and it was similar to his Holyfield card he did last summer too. I know there was a couple local guys on the undercard, but as far as the main event, there's really nobody that's from that area. So that'd be my only complaint that I had is that the city would come out and support. I mean, the 4 fights were really. I told my friends these guys it's going to be a toss up each fight. I mean, all 4 of the WBC tournament fights went 10 rounds. But we enjoyed ourselves. Was able to meet a couple guys out there. Got to speak with Steve Farhood and
very cool.
Barry. I mean, it was a good. I was real happy for Santana because I know he was probably contemplating retirement after his last couple losses, and for him to get in shape and to be ready for this, because Derek Cuevas, I believe, backed out due to his grandmother's death maybe 3 weeks before the fight with Felix. So Santana must have been training because he came in there. He looked in great shape, and he followed directions and that. I'm just happy for guys like that, man, who looks like it may be the end of the road, but then they get a opportunity out of nowhere and they take advantage of it and capitalize on it. He's got a good chance for winning this whole thing. He beat the toughest guy in the tournament.
Yeah. And he was an alternate, so he knew it was coming.
Beeb, I want to ask you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no! I was just saying he was an alternate. He was chosen as an alternate, so he knew he can get the call at any time. So he knew to stay, on weight and everything.
Yes, Joe. What's up?
Yeah, he was actually scheduled to fight. So I was going to ask you, Beeb, do you know much about Paddy Gallagher? Man, that guy was a machine, and I really thought he won the fight, but they gave it to the other guy. And I speak with him after the fight. He's a real nice guy. But man, man.
I heard the name, but I can't say that I know a ton about him. I'm sorry. But this is what I like about the show when people tell me things.
13-3.
I'll definitely look it up. Look them up. That's why it's good to have people give us input like that. Thank you.
Yeah, out of all the fighters in that tournament, he really stood out. And that Timo guy against the guy that fought Chris Van Herden, Robbie's boy, he was pretty good too. But Paddy stood out to me the most. I mean, the guy was just coming forward. I was thrown off too by the 5 judges.
I'm happy that Chris won, man.
Yeah, I know that's your boy, man. But after that, though, guys, I was gonna say Saturday night was just it was so much boxing on yesterday. I want to say literally from 6 p.m. all the way close to midnight. I was just flipping back and forth, and I had fights on my phone, then fights on the tablet, and then fights on the TV. So it was just a lot of boxing to take in.
Joe, are you going to be one of these guys that pays for ESPN Plus?
It depends now, Robbie. Like, $5 is not going to hurt. You know, I wish the ESPN Plus, you know, I love all sports, but I did notice that they don't have any NBA content or NFL content on there. That's a low blow for me, because I'm a big, you know, I love the NBA. I know they got MLB games and stuff, but I was just looking for other stuff that they possibly can have. Like, for example, my thing would be the Jeff Horn fight is on, but also that night's the Abden Mars Leo Santa Cruz fight.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I know a lot of people are going to be like, which one you going to do? You know, you already have Showtime. Why would you pay $5 for that? But I'm not gonna. I mean, I'm probably gonna get it just because I don't want to miss that fight. But $5 is not gonna break me. But I see where the frustration can come in, where it's like, damn, you know, it seems like when we're getting all these fights on our basic cable TV and subscription, now we got to pay even more. I think what Top Rank's going to have to do, though, if they're going to keep doing that, they're going to have to put on competitive fights, man, because you can hear the backlash already if they're just putting mismatches on there. But I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a lot of people, because a lot of people want to see Crawford win that belt, but it just depends, man. It just depends. But I'm going to go probably with the Showtime card that night.
Well, I am too. Man. I am too.
Yeah. What I wanted to get to too, Eric, there was a guy that I met there, man. He said he listens to the show all the time. I can't remember his name. He was in the press. He said he's good friends with you, man.
Was that Wood?
He's from Ohio.
Wood. It had to be Wood.
Ohio, man. He
had to be Wood.
Ohio.
Had to be Wood.
Yeah, that was Wood.
I don't know. This guy was media. I mean, he was in front taking notes and everything, man. So I don't know, but he says he knows you pretty well, and he's trying to get you to come down. But he's a real nice guy. But
he's awesome.
Going into the fights yesterday, man, that Jesse fight was really good. I don't know. Sometimes I think when who was his best opponent that Jesse had beat prior to this?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a real good question.
My thing is, when you give fighters so many guys that you're supposed to beat, you know, like in a sense where you're polishing up, and I don't want to say giving them layups, but when they're protected for so long, then they finally get in the ring with somebody that's damn near as equal as you. That's where you have to be careful of, like, really holding their hand for so long. Now, I know Tim Bradley was bragging about him and sparring and all that, but I don't know what happened, but I thought Jesse was going to win this fight. But I guess that's just a case of, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know who his best win was, and that's my fault for not knowing. But I was just real shocked that he did lose last night.
Well, like I said, the first 4 rounds, it looked like Jesse was going to take control, and then he got hit in the 5th, and that was it. The rest of it, he just didn't know what to do after that.
Yeah, that was I was shocked, man. I was like, wow. An HBO card, I really I loved Danny Jacobs, the entrance. I liked the creativity of that when he came out the ring walk, do something different. It was pretty cool. I like him, man. He's just a class act guy. I like the way he speaks to the media. I like the way he addresses the fans. I like everything about Danny Jacobs. So I'm really, kind of rooting for him and his future fights. So overall, man, it was just so many fights on, but Friday night was really fun. Eric, I hope that the city shows a little bit more support, though, man, because I don't see how Holyfield can continue doing fights in that area, because that without getting fans in the building, So
how many people were there? I mean, if you had to guess.
On a side note, did your son tune into the Greatest Royal Rumble? I probably want to finish it today, man.
He absolutely
tuned in,
5
hours long, man.
And he watched the entire thing. And he's been watching the entire thing on the WWE app or whatever. I won't pay for ESPN Plus, but I find myself paying for the WWE app for my son. Eric,
your son's a priority, okay?
That's right. That's right.
Father of the year stuff right there, man.
We went to SmackDown when it was here in Ohio. It was in Cincinnati or whatever, and I took him to see SmackDown, and I think we were like 4 rows back or something like that. So he had a pretty good time there.
Oh,
man, it was a great show. They're doing, and that's why I see a lot of these boxing. Like I think that's where Top Rank probably got some of their ideas from when they see the success of the WWE network. I mean, it started off slow, but that network is booming. And for $9.99, you're getting a pay-per-view every month, plus any old WrestleMania, any old pay-per-view from ECW and back in WCW, all them stuff. So that's where it's going now. And I think Top Rank kind of modeled a little bit of that. ESPN probably saw the success of what WWE is doing too, and they're like, man, we got to jump on that too.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you pay for something like
McMahon?
Like we wouldn't pay. I'm not going to pay for the ESPN Plus app because it's not like. But would you pay for a Top Rank app that has all that data and all that stuff, like original shows, original stuff like that, and then they have like all the Top Rank fights through the years? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I probably would. I would. I'll be honest with you guys. I love if ESPN app. I'm probably gonna. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite here. I'm probably gonna be a sucker and do it anyway. But if it had the NBA content on there, like let's say, and they may. I don't even know if they like the NBA draft combine or NBA games throughout the season. I would definitely do it because then maybe I can back up off the NBA League Pass. But I looked and they don't have any NFL, no NBA. It's kind of like lacrosse, golf, baseball. You know, if I could get every Yankees game on there, I would do it. You know, but I just.
Well, I pay for MLB extra innings. I got that covered.
Yeah, I don't think it's not that bad. I mean, like it's a smart way too, guys. Is the first one? I believe you can get a 30-day trial.
No, it's a week.
Yeah,
it's a week.
Oh, is it a week?
So yeah, there's your first fight right there. So just the week of the Crawford fight, sign up for free and see if it'll be good. I know you get the whole card, but I did notice yesterday, you know, before on ESPN the Watch app. They took off the undercard on there because I was going to watch the undercard starting at 4 p.m. And
no, they put it on Plus. They want you to pay for that, man.
Yeah, so I was like, dang, man. But Eric, did you hear that they're going to have the very first Hall of Fame in Indiana coming up here soon?
No.
Like for fighters, yeah. I ran into a former welterweight champion named Greg Hoke. Do you remember Greg Hoke?
Greg Hoke?
Hoke, yes. Greg Hoke, yes. Him.
Yeah. I remember him.
Yeah. He was at the fight, and I was talking to him, and he had shared that it's going to be coming up here, I want to say in May, the very first ever Hall of Fame for Indiana fighters.
Oh, wow.
And I believe, is there a heavyweight by the name of Bruce? Is it Brewster? Is he from Indiana?
Layman Brewster?
You guys may know this, man. Yeah, Brewster.
Yeah, Layman Brewster, yeah.
Okay, he's getting inducted, and I believe there's an old trainer and a referee, but I'm going to try to get off to go. I mean, it's very affordable to go, but I think that's pretty neat. I mean, we don't have many famous fighters from here, but I mean, it's pretty cool that they're having something like that, because I never attended anything like that.
Layman Brewster, yeah, Layman Brewster's pretty famous. That's a pretty good, he's a pretty good boxer.
Yeah. So he's getting inducted in there, so. But that's really it, guys. I don't want to keep rambling off here, man. Like I said, it was just a lot of boxing yesterday. I mean, I enjoyed it, and then it's pretty cool, man. Hopefully, though, Eric, I'll see you at the next round, but I don't think round 2 is going to be in
December 1st, I think.
In Louisville. I think they're going to take it somewhere else.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But I think it's on December 1st, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong about that. Maybe that's the finals. I don't know.
Okay. Well, Eric, man, hey, keep on supporting that WWE for your son, man. I tell you what, that's the best family entertainment out right now, man. It's the best family entertainment out.
Will do, man. Will do. All right, man. We appreciate
take care,
it.
Guys. Deep, take care.
All right, see you, Joe.
All right, man. Very good, man. Joe from Indiana. All right, we're going to bring him back on. He's waited. He's suffered his penance. Jason, you're back on.
You've already stole all my talking points, man. What am I supposed to say now?
I don't know.
I'm just messing around. Messing around.
So let's talk about the Wilder. Let's talk about the Wilder thing.
Yeah, I thought Beeb made some great points, which most of the American media doesn't really make. I mean, maybe Ness or TVV maybe made them, you know. I mean, but Eddie was like, he was interviewing Eddie. Did you guys watch the interview? He got really mad. Eddie's face was red, and like I've never seen Eddie that mad. Like Ness got under his skin and shit with all the tough questions. He's not used to being pushed back like that ever. He was fucking pissed. He's like, Ness asked him, "Do you have any doubts that Al Heyman could bring up this money. He said, listen, Al Heyman's done some big fights. Like, he's so fucking condescending. He didn't say Al Heyman's done the biggest fight. He says Al Heyman's done some big fights. I mean, nobody ever talks about that Al Heyman's done the biggest fights, like Beeb said. But, like, Al Heyman was at the table for the biggest pay-per-view and gate events in American boxing history. And nobody says that. Even the American media sitting around talking to Eddie at the Jacobs media, they're like, where do you think Wilder's getting this money, Eddie? I mean, nobody even says these things that Beeb was saying, which is kind of fucking sad, you know? Guys, I mean, it seems like the American media is happy to get those nice dinners, matchroomers for writing these days.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, again, if you're serious about doing the fight, why can't you hold those two meetings? If you're serious about doing the fight. But
Eric, I was gonna talk about that. Eric, he doesn't sound serious at all about doing this fight. Now he says, listen, 50 is good, but where is the money coming from? Are we gonna have to do press tours? I mean, the biggest fucking fights in boxing history have done press tours. Did we forget Canelo Mayweather press tour? Did we forget the Canelo Conor? So who the fuck does he think AJ is? AJ's gonna have to do a press tour. He's gonna have to go to LA, New York, fucking maybe one or two other cities. He's gonna have to do that if he wants $50 million. Who the hell does he think he is? He's never made more than $20 million, I think. If he's going to 150, he's gonna have to do some press tours. That's how boxing in America works. America is not a small island like England. America's a huge fucking country. We have to do press tours, 3-4 city press tours. That's how it works, right? Right, Beeb? Or am I just talking nonsense?
You're still talking nonsense.
I mean, I'm actually agreeing with a lot of things you're saying this week. I'm getting nervous.
Like
you
I said,
always,
man, the thing
you
is,
always agree with me. Stop fronting. You got that fucking new camera because I bitched at you about it so much. You got it because of me. Stop lying.
He doesn't have a new camera. I don't know what
Don't
you guys
have a new camera.
This is how delusional you are. All right. All right. So, but Eddie, why he can't ask questions?
No, I'm not done yet. Beeb, talk about the press tour thing, man. I mean, isn't he going to have to do press tours? Talk about that, Beeb.
Absolutely, he's going to have to do press tours.
Who cares about the press tours?
And he said you're not going to do that. You can't whore AJ out. He wants to be the only one that whores AJ out. That's what he said. You're not going to pay AJ out. He's like, no, I'm the only one that's going to pay AJ out. Did you not hear? Watch his interviews.
But you know what aggravates me the most? When he tries to be condescending to Wilder. Oh, Wilder doesn't have that kind of money. Neither do you. But neither does he. He pays his fighters with Sky money.
And which is his. He's not saying he's going to call for $50 million though. That's the point. He's not telling him he's going to offer. He's not the one offering $50 million.
But he also said he goes.
But then he's throwing in the $50 million way. He's like, we're not going to do press tours. We're not going to do this.
But what he did say,
the biggest fighters in the world have to do press tours to get 50, 60 million. Then AJ's bum ass is going to have to do a press tour. Nobody in America knows who AJ is. He's going to have to do a 3-4 city press tour.
You know what he did say?
We're not going to do that.
You know what he did say?
Spend a week on a press tour. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that? That's a roadblock to the $50 million offer. That's what I'm saying, Eric. Why do you ignore shit like that?
Why? Because you're making stuff up. All right, why did he skip those meetings? He
said this yesterday on Fight Hub everywhere. The videos are everywhere.
Yeah, because they never lie to the media. Let me ask you this: Why did he skip those meetings then? You're in the Heyman circle.
Because they know he's not serious. They know he's going to come up to the meeting, make some excuses, and start grandstanding after the meeting. Be like, oh, they didn't want to give us this. Al Heyman and Shelly Finkel know this guy. He's a fucking clown. He wants to grandstand right now. He's not ready to make this fight.
I just don't like. I don't like when he said, "Oh, well, like he's trying to play dumb." Oh, Wilder doesn't have that kind of money. And then he goes, "I can get that kind of money, but Wilder doesn't have that kind of money." Yeah, but you're using. It's like common sense is going to tell you it's not Wilder getting the money.
You know what? But you know what that sentence tells me when he says that Wilder doesn't.
But that's for his 15-year-old fanboys in England. That'll plague the fucking comment section with like Wilder has money.
That's what happens when I can't finish a point. All right. So, you know, when he says that, and Jason, you're still on hold, so just relax. When he says that sentence, to me, what that says is, hey, I want to talk to the guy. You're not the guy. I want to talk to the guy.
That's a good point. That's a good point, too.
All right. Let me bring Jason back.
That's a good comeback.
All right.
Also, Beeb, did you hear Eddie admitted that this $50 million offer could have been a tactic by Al and Shelley to bring the offer of 12.5 up, and he said it probably worked because I'm going to send Wilder another offer. Did you watch that interview? I think he was on Fight Hub.
I did.
Did you watch that?
I did. At the end of the day, he doesn't want to lose control. He doesn't want to lose. He wants to be the lead promoter of this promotion. He doesn't want. You can give him $200 million. He'll do everything he can to hold on to being the lead promoter in the
Exactly.
That's what I think.
I don't see why Eric doesn't see that, and me and Beeb see that so clearly. I mean, he doesn't want to be the one. He doesn't want to watch Al Heyman be the one calling shots. He's so fucking insecure because he got the company and everything handed to him by his daddy. So he's always got to act like the big tough boss. I mean, that's why he's coming down to name calling. Did you read the article a couple hours ago? Boxing scene is fucking disgusting. He's like calling Shelly Shirley like 15 times in a fucking article of like 20 lines. I mean, it's disgusting. He's so fucking childish.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy literally works out of his father's old house as an office. Matchroom's headquarters is Barry Hearn's old house. So we know who we're dealing here. This is not some self-made fucking boss here. This is daddy's boy with daddy's checkbook. So let's keep everything in perspective here. Al Heyman is the guy that is involved in the biggest deals in boxing history. And Eddie is the guy who inherited everything from daddy. His staff, his company, the headquarters, everything. So let's just keep that in perspective when we put people like Al Heyman and Wilder down. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Also, I noticed something about Jacobs. Did you notice this, Beeb? Jacobs tends to slap with a lot of his punches. Did you see that?
I think
why are you all over Jacobs now? Because he left the PBC.
I think Jacobs looks good.
No, not you.
Because
when you were
I just wanted to fight Charlo. How am I all over him? I think Charlo's going to knock him out. He's going to put him on his face once again. He's been down before. He had excuses before, but now he's not going to have any excuses. I didn't think I was overly impressed with his performance Saturday night.
Now he left your boys. Now he sucks.
He wasn't with my boys, man. He was never with PBC. He was like a sideshow. What did you think, Beeb? Don't you think he smashed with his punches a lot?
No, I don't think so. No. I think Jacobs is a very good fighter.
You don't think so?
No.
Yeah, he's good. But Sulecki impressed a lot. I mean, maybe because I haven't seen him much, but
yeah.
What did you guys think of Josecito Lopez? Any notes on that? Anybody?
No, nobody likes
what he had to do.
Yeah, it's a horrible fight. It's a horrible weekend for the PBC. Why don't you talk about that? Why don't you talk about what a lousy weekend it was for the PBC? Or are you gonna?
They had one slow week. They gave us Jared Hurd, Lara, Wilder Ortiz, Bernard Vargas. I mean, they can't do that every week. Come on now.
I want to hear you say it. PBC sucked this week.
They gotta have 1 week like Brown versus White. They gotta have throw that 1 week in there like that. They gotta throw some trash to us too. Come on, man.
Say it.
PBC sucked this week. On free TV. Come on, really?
Tell them.
Did you guys hear Jim Lampley? He said Katie Taylor is the best female fighter, he said Katie's fight was the best female fight he's ever seen in his life. Did you guys hear that? Lampley said that?
Yep.
Yeah, so what? Yep. She's a good fighter. Who's better? Who's better?
Who's better?
Yeah,
Clarissa Shields way better.
Come on. Dude, come on.
Clarissa Shields will put that girl to sleep.
She weighs about 40 more pounds.
Yeah, I think Michaela Mayer is better. I think Michaela Mayer is hotter and better than Katie, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll be Michaela Mayer's punching bag any day, son.
You be my punching
Whoa.
bag.
Whoa.
Hey, what's the next good fights coming up, guys? What are the next good fights coming
May
up?
12th, Lomachenko and Linares.
Yeah, son.
Nothing before that?
Hating on him.
I like the Hay Bellew fight. I really
Did you guys see Ryan Garcia? He said he outboxed Loma in sparring. Can you believe that shit?
Who said that? Who said that?
Ryan Garcia said he outboxed Loma in sparring and they stopped the sparring. That's what Ryan Garcia said.
He's bragging about sparring. He's bragging about sparring. Where okay. Yeah. No.
And also, Robbie was saying, Wilder doesn't have a promoter, so couldn't it be hard to negotiate? I mean, Robbie, would you be happier if Wilder was with Oscar and he's taking kitchen utensils up this culo? Would you be cool with that?
No.
Oh,
that's not the point I was trying to make.
You got to be careful what you wish for,
Oh, how dare you!
And if he was with Aaron, this fight would be even harder to make. Aaron would never take that fucking deal they offered. Am I right, Beeb? Aaron would make it way tougher.
I don't even think they'd even try to offer that deal to Aaron. They would know better.
Nope. Bob wouldn't even consider it.
Yeah, and that's the disrespect they show to Al Heyman. He doesn't show Al Heyman any fucking respect. He tells, I don't know. I hate how condescending he is towards Al Heyman. I mean, it's kind of weird to me. This is the guy that's doing the biggest deals in boxing history. I mean, Eddie and his father have never even done a $100 million fight in their life. Not even one. There's no fight they've done that reached the $100 million mark. And these guys are going to talk down to Al Heyman and Shelly Finkel? Really? I mean, Jesus Christ, man. It's weird. And all the Euro guys are eating it up in the comment section. All you hear is, where's this money coming from? Wilder doesn't have this money. Nobody has this money over there. UK was where the money's at. I mean, you know, so he's doing the right thing because all the fans eat it up. Like, they sit in the comment section. They're like, Eddie's got an interview. Now I've got to get my popcorn out and watch for 40 minutes. I mean, these kids like worship Eddie. So he's like a superhero for them. They don't have anybody like that over there. So, you know.
All right, Jason, we're going to get going here. We're going to get moving on.
All right, guys. Thanks, Eric.
We'll
Thanks, Robbie. Thanks,
all right, we'll see you later, son. Go finish washing Al Heyman's shorts, all right? All right.
My God.
Oh, good Lord. How do you follow that? 760. How on earth do you follow that call?
Brian, I wish you luck because that's going to be a hard one to follow.
Man, I can't follow that. But, man, it's crazy, though. I do feel the same way about the whole 50 million situation. And I'm like, man, just get it going. Shit, just get it going. You have a meeting, get it going, you know. But that's what Anthony Joshua said he wanted. He said, give me 50 million and didn't he say that, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Video. They got him on video. He can't back up.
They got him on video saying that. Yeah.
Get the 50 million and we'll fight. He said it right there. He said, I'll sign it. So he should have flew to the United States. They could have had a big meeting and it would have been even more serious. But it do look like stall tactics going on.
Yeah.
That's all I see with that situation. It's just stall tactics. You know, it ain't trying to happen right now. You know, and it's just gonna be a bunch of reasons why it's not. But yeah, as far as Danny Jacobs, I even agree with that. He about to get knocked out. Charlo gonna whoop that ass. He gonna whoop that ass.
A lot of people are saying that.
Man, that's a good fight, man. I don't know, man.
A lot of people are picking Charlo, Eric.
I think it'll be a very good fight.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good fight, but, you know, I think that's going to be the fight that's going to make Charles. That's the name right there. And then maybe even give him a shot and give him some confidence of fighting Billy Joe or Triple G. But that's a good test for him. You know what I'm saying? It's a good test. Because Danny Jacobs, that's a good test. Danny Jacobs called him out last night. So, you know. That's gonna be
I know you're a Ryan Garcia guy. Are you going to go to the fight on Friday?
Man, I was thinking about it, but it's way too expensive. I can't afford to go. So
okay, all right.
Oh well, it's too expensive. You know, hopefully he gets the win. You know.
Well, I think Velez is going to be a very tough fight. We'll find out how good he really is.
Yeah. He just got to keep, you know, winning. Just keep winning, you know, for right now. He's moving really fast. That's all I know. He's moving really fast, but you don't want to move too fast, but just keep winning.
Right.
Hey, as far as Big Baby, okay, what you guys think? He like getting set up for the kill or what? Cause,
well, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because I don't think you can be a successful heavyweight over 300 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, cracking up. You said you compared them to Butterbean.
Butterbean. Well, if you watch the broadcast last night, that's what they did.
Yeah. I didn't even hear that, but yeah, that's a good comparison, though. But
yeah,
you know, Anthony Joshua, I see him lining it up with either one, Wilder or Joshua, with that good reach and that good jab. And I don't see him doing the same things on those guys that got a good, solid jab, especially if they're going to use that jab and then follow with the straight, because both of them got a straight regardless.
I think they both put him away.
Yeah, they'll line it up quick. They'll line him up with good, nice jabs and then just bam with a straight, you know, and that's it. Because I don't see him being real effective against somebody that got a good long jab, you know, and that weight is going to play a factor on these guys that can keep him at bay. You know, old boy last night, he could walk him down because he didn't have a good solid jab. That dude was tough, but he was like a big punching bag, you know. He was a punching bag last night.
Yeah, I think another guy that puts Big Baby Miller away is Dylan White. I think Dylan White puts him out.
Yeah, that'll be a good fight. That'll be a good fight. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't know. That might be a.
Beeb, you're the UK guy. What do you think about Dylan White fighting Big Baby Miller?
I like Big Baby Miller in that fight. I'm a Big Baby Miller fan. I'm sorry.
He ain't did nothing, Dillian White. He knocked out Lucas Brown. That ain't nothing.
I know, but I mean, I want to see Big Baby Miller in a real fight. He's got to show me something in a real fight. Give me a real test.
But I do believe, though, besides Wilder and Joshua, I think he can hang with Dillian White. I think he can hang with Povetkin. Some of them other guys, I think he can hang with them, because he's tough and he's going to press up on you, because part of him being big, he kind of presses up on you. He uses that weight and that presence when he's pressing up on them, and it kind of makes them fall under that pressure because of that heavy presence he got. Them other guys, I could see it. Him, maybe it'll be he could get the wins against those guys. But Joshua and Wilder, I don't see it, because they got that big right hand, both of them. It'll put them to sleep, And if he goes straight for Joshua, all that is just they building up Joshua, because they know he's going to knock out Big Baby. It'll be competitive. Big Baby will keep pressing, but that jab and that straight, it'll end it quick. Mm-hmm. He won't even get tired. Joshua wouldn't even get tired. It wouldn't even get to a point, because I don't even think it would go with that type of style. It wouldn't even go past 4 rounds. He'll line it up, and that jab will do damage. And then that straight will do even more damage, But, I'm just trying to look into the future of these guys. Like, who's Danny Jacobs going to fight next? Who's Miller going to fight next? Who else? Because we got some good stuff that's coming up, but it's coming up next, like the next episode.
Yep.
That's what we waiting on, the next episode.
The next big fight to look forward to is Lomachenko and Linares, and that's in 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's going to be a good fight. But even with that, I'm like, okay, what's going to happen after that? Because all these matches, we know who's going to be the favorite to win. So what's going to happen after that?
Yeah.
It's going to be a good fight, but what's going to happen after that?
I hear you. It's
always about the next episode in boxing. That's why most of them boxing fans get impatient on waiting for the next episode.
Yep, I know.
But hopefully they get these big fights going, But because right now, I think it's been pretty good. Last year, this year's been pretty good. As long as they keep the ball rolling, Al Heyman, he's been doing good. I like that dude. I didn't know nothing about him until this year. I like what he's doing. I like what he's doing with these fighters, getting them lined up and showcasing how he did in the beginning. But they just got to keep the ball rolling, keep it rolling. You think, hey, let me ask you guys this. This will be the last thing. You think Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, you think they'll set that up?
Well, yeah, the WBC has mandated that they have to fight now that Thurman gave up his title.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything. The WBC doesn't have any call over that. Yeah. They can only dictate.
No, I know it doesn't mean anything, but now that it's a vacant belt, I see both of those guys wanting to go after it. I think they have to fight one another. And I think that's a good fight.
I think it's a great fight, and I think they both got the same people. But I tell you what, I'm not sure that fight goes down.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure they accept that fight.
Is, are they really fight?
Right.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, are they really?
I hope they do. I think it's a good fight.
I do too, but I don't know that happens, man. I'm very skeptical that happens. I'll be honest.
I am too, Eric. But for once, I'd like to see a couple of PBC guys actually step up and say, you know what, we'll take that fight.
Yeah, because that'll be a good fight. That'll be a good fight if they can just fight. That's all we want them to do is to just fight, but that's why it's like, just because they mandated it, that don't mean that they're gonna fight.
Right. Exactly.
You know how it goes.
Exactly.
Well, hey, you got a vacant belt now. Who really wants it? So let's see who really wants it.
Yeah, hopefully it'll happen though. Because it would make sense to us for them to take the fight, but all that stuff behind closed doors, why fights don't happen, and then we try to still make sense of it. I ain't even trying to make sense of it.
I hear you. I'll put it this way. I hope it happens.
Yeah. I'm skeptical.
I hope all big fights happen. I hope Charlo fight against Jacobs. I hope Wilder fight against Joshua, because these types of fights, these big fights, is what's really going to market boxing in itself.
Right.
Where it can promote its own self by having these fights. If they keep on putting on these old fights where, this person is just fighting him, for right now, and then he's going to fight him again for right now, and he's going to fight, all that.
Well, we have one of those coming up this weekend, Brian, with Triple G. I mean, he's stuck fighting somebody that really he shouldn't be fighting, but it's not his fault. It's Canelo.
It's not his fault. And one thing, I was kind of hard on Triple G, but then I said, you know what, Triple G, he hasn't really turned down nobody when it comes to a fight. He hasn't turned down nobody.
Right.
So, I'm pretty sure he's willing to fight all those guys, but it's just a situation he went through that's it don't even got nothing to do with him. Yep. The only person he did avoid, though, he wasn't an Andre Ward, but we ain't even going to get into that.
Right.
He didn't.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Brian.
He didn't need it at the time. He didn't need it.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Well, good call, Brian, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Well, I'll let you guys go, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
All right.
All right. Let's see here. Let's go back to the phones. Let's see what we got. Didn't work. Let's see if I can do it again here. All right. It is what it is.
You'll be my new fool.
There we go. Georgie.
Hey, what's happening, people? How you guys doing tonight?
What's going on?
Hey, Georgie, what's up? I'm glad to have you back after last week.
Hi, Georgie.
I'm going to be my best behavior.
All right. We love it. We love it.
Nice to have you back, Georgie.
Listen, we got to say some facts here, brother, because, we hear a lot of talk. Everybody speculating. Ain't nobody know no facts.
Right.
So we're going with a lot of he say, she say. We're supposed to hit a plateau right here at the beginning of the year. We're supposed to have Triple G against Canelo. That got debacle. So we got a replacement fighter that nobody really want to see. I just don't care. I'm not gonna even watch that. So I don't know. That's done there for the year. Then at the end of the year, we're supposed to have this Wilder AJ figured it out, and that seems to be getting away from us too. So how 2018 really is going to end it out? What we really got going on this year?
Well, see, this is the part of boxing that none of us likes. Is all the posturing before the serious negotiations. It'll be interesting to see if any of these offers are legitimate and they're serious, and how and if they really want to take the fight. As we've discussed, we think the money will be there, But how badly do they really want to fight? We'll just have to wait and see. But this is the part of boxing it's not the fun part, Georgie, where we can sit down and enjoy the fights. This is all the garbage that comes before the big fight happens.
The good old hamster wheel, baby. The good old hamster wheel. I'm only looking forward for the Battle Jack Superman fight. That's the only thing that I see in the horizon that is, confirmed. I think it was like last minute confirmed, which took a little while, but
yeah, it's confirmed.
It's official, right?
Yep.
Yeah, May 19th.
I think that's going to be competitive, but I think, I don't know, because I think Superman going to catch him.
I know. I like Jack the Ripper in that one. I like him to take that title.
Eric, you're not going to be undefeated forever, buddy.
I like Badu Jack in that one, I think. To me, he's got one way to Stevenson's got one way to win. And he can land it, no question.
I got Superman.
You got Superman? I got
Superman.
All right, man. I've got Jack. We'll make it official that week. We'll make it official that week. Yeah.
Hey, Beeb, who do you got in that one?
I got Jack.
Yeah.
I like Jack.
Too.
I like Jack.
Oh, everybody got Jack?
Everybody got Jack, yep.
Son.
But Jack, he went life and death with fucking the girl. Isn't the girl his best win? What I'm missing here?
Yeah, no. Who does it? Look at Stevenson, though. This guy's on the shelf. This guy is on the shelf for a year. He hasn't fought a mandatory in years.
Listen, but Stevenson been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
He's nothing new. That stage that he's gonna be. That's some fucking Canada too, right?
Ring rust.
I think the last time. I think Eric. I think
the same theater, the same lights, the same everything.
Yeah, I think the last time
different from Battle, and he's not gonna hold up. And Battle, what you gonna tell me? Battle gonna knock him out?
Badu can knock him out. Badu can absolutely knock him out.
You already took that pie. Stop it.
He can absolutely knock him out.
Set up for failure. And you,
just said myself.
Georgie Porgy. Listen, but what else? What we got? Oh, Jacob. I want to see Jacob and Charlo.
Yeah, that's a fight.
That's the match that I really want to see.
I hope we get to see that. I think that'd be a great fight.
Yeah.
What's the possibility of that happening now that this dude with Eddie Hearns?
I don't know. I don't think Eddie Hearns the problem.
I think it can happen. The only problem I see, Georgie, is they're both #1 mandatories, and because of that, I don't think they're going to take the fight because I think they're going to wait on Triple G.
They're going to have to
grab a bell.
They're gonna have to.
Oh man, but you see what I'm saying? They're gonna take all the way to the end of the year because they're gonna wait for this Canelo comeback, right?
That's in September. He won't fight again after that. So you're gonna wait till next year. So you might as well fight each other.
That get frozen for a whole year. That's ridiculous. That's why I don't like the Charlo. The Charlo did that with Lara. Then none of the three would have unified the junior middleweight. So 154 pounds, we didn't find out who the fuck was the best. There was no unification for like 3 years because of that bullshit. And now it seems that this is oh man, come on now. That type of policy just like, I don't know, man. Pretty much that's my call. Let me keep the positive energy. Everybody out there, give these people a thumb up. Like I said many times before, they don't ask for anything besides that. And I'm out of here next week.
All right,
see, Georgie, good call.
Good call as usual.
Good, Georgie.
Georgie. It's a good call. We love Georgie. He does a lot for us. But you're still going to take a pie on that Badu Jack fight, son. 312, you're live. 312.
Fight Doctor in the house on Rick James status as always.
Fight Doctor.
What's going on, gentlemen?
What's happening?
Good evening, Fight Doctor.
I suspect that you guys already know what I'm about to say.
I have no idea.
I have a good idea.
I've been telling you guys for how long about the situation going on over in the UK, about who wants to fight and who doesn't want to fight. And, at this point, given that Eddie Hearn has 50 million reasons, literally, to make the fight, and yet is refusing to do so, I think we know who is the duck here. So I don't even want to talk about that. All right? Because, yeah, that's stupid. It's just dumb. Okay? Listen, if somebody offers me $50 million, my next question isn't, I need to see the contract, or we need to sit down and talk about the details. No. My next question is, where the fuck do I sign?
I can't argue with that, man.
Honestly.
That's right.
Where the fuck do I sign? $50 million? Where do I sign? Period. That's the next thing that's coming out of my mouth. Anything other than is crazy. So I don't even want to talk about it. What I do want to talk about is 304 pounds.
I find now, Fight Doctor, are you like me? Do you find that ridiculous? I mean, I don't see him being successful if he continues to come in weighing over 304 pounds or whatever. I can't take the guy seriously. Every time he fights, he always weighs too much.
He's big boned.
What I want to know is, how come no one has been asking the question? This guy is supposed to be a volume puncher, and he is coming into the ring at 304 pounds. So, somebody needs to be asking, like, what is this guy on? I mean, honestly.
Is he grass-fed beef?
You're a volume puncher.
Organic vegetables.
And you're fighting 12-round fights. So what are you on, guy? Seriously.
Good protein bottle.
He's a vegan.
Big Baby has all the charisma in the world. I think he's good for boxing. He's got his whole New York, Bronx-ism, whatever thing going on. And that's cool. And that's what the sport of boxing needs. We need personalities like that. But at the same time, you're 304 pounds and you're, a volume puncher and you're punching in volume late in the fight. So, yeah, how does that work? Okay, and you're not on something. Yeah. Well, look, listen, they're all on something, okay? At the end of the day, they're all on something. They're all on something. So why should he be any different? And it's a shame that we've just come to accept less than in the sport of boxing. And listen, I go back to what I said previously, that being a fan of the sport of boxing is sort of like being married to the club whore. She's gonna break your heart. Okay, she's gonna break your heart constantly. And last night looking at the fight, thinking, yeah, guy, you're 304 pounds, and we're supposed to take you seriously, and you're in the 12th round, and you're not like you're not like gassed out. I mean, he was gassed, but it's just crazy. Okay, I mean, maybe the guy is clean. I don't know, but it's just I have no words. This is one of the few times where the fight doctor just has nothing to say about the situation, because it's just sad. It is. Boxing is just sad. This shit. Sometimes I'm really heartbroken to be. I don't want to say heartbroken. I want to say I'm ashamed sometimes almost to be a fan of the sport, because it's so dirty and it's just ass backwards. The way things don't work, how they're supposed to work. It's just, I mean, look, back in the 50s and the 60s, it was ran by the mob and nothing has changed. Okay? Nothing has changed. It's still dirty as ever. You got people turning down $50 million. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Okay? But that's the sport of boxing. We love it. So it is what it is. I guess I should stop bitching and moaning about it, because no matter how much I bitch and moan, not going to change. It was this way long before the fight, doctor. Going to be this way long after the fight, doctor. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
There you go.
But I have one last thing.
Yes.
I have one last thing. The Charlo and Jacobs situation. I caught an interview, and I forgot who was doing the interview, but it was, I don't know if it was shortly before the fight or shortly after the fight. I think it was right before the fight, where Charlo was being interviewed by the media, and Jacobs just happens to walk through the hallway and stumble upon the interview.
I saw that.
And his reaction was, oh, yeah. And so Jacobs' reaction was, oh, I showed up at just the right time. And, you know, it's just like Charlo's demeanor all of a sudden at that moment changed.
Yep.
And, you know, Jacobs kind of sort of went into like, you know, aggressive hunter mode, like, you know, what the hell is going on with you? What are you talking about? And all of a sudden, Charlo just didn't seem all that interested in talking a whole lot of shit.
He didn't seem that
he just seemed to
aggressive.
be more interested in being friends and kumbaya, whereas Jacobs is like, you know, I'm about to invade your territory and see what you know, what the hell is really going on. What is all this talk I'm hearing? What is all this about? Okay. And, you know, Charlo's demeanor was just like, yeah, pass, you know, pass. Can we pass the peace pipe, or can we be friends, or can we sing? That was just seemed to be, to me, what his demeanor was. So, yeah, initially I was thinking Charlo. I'm not thinking Charlo anymore. I'm thinking Jacobs, definitely. If that fight happens, which it will, it won't happen next because I think that's bad business. Because Charlo is the WBC Mando, which is probably due after the IBF Mando.
Yeah, both of them are mandatories. Charlo's a mandatory, and so is Jacobs. So,
and Jacobs is a mandatory for the WBA.
Right.
So it seems to me that if that fight were to happen, conceivably, because let's be honest here, Golovkin is going to either get stripped or vacate at least one of his titles. Okay, you know, at least one of his titles. I can see a situation where he will probably get some leeway from the WBC only because they want Alvarez. They want WBC title around Alvarez's waist. So I can see Charlo being made to play the waiting game. You know, WBA, I don't know. But conceivably, it's conceivable that in the next 12 months, Charlo will have the WBC title and Jacobs will have the WBA. So given that, why would you fight now as opposed to fight after one or both of you have a title and at least one of you have beaten Golovkin? Very conceivable in the next 12 months, I think. Because I think Charlo beats Golovkin. I think Jacobs beat him in the first fight. So, yeah, that's bad business. I would like to see the fight as a fight stand. I would like to see it tomorrow. But do I think it's going to happen next for either one of those guys? Probably not. I mean, especially given the situation where we know who Jacobs' promoter is now. We know that he's the master ducker. You know, Mr. Turned down $50 million. That's actually not a good look. If I were an up-and-coming fighter, and maybe I'm with another promoter, and I'm thinking my promoter isn't like looking out for my best interest, and maybe I could do something better, greater somewhere else. Guess who I'm not looking at? I'm not looking at Eddie Hearn. Why? Because Eddie Hearn looks at a $50 million deal and says, no, thank you. What in the entire fuck is wrong with you? Okay? I'm sorry, but yeah, if I'm a young fighter or if I'm signed with another promoter, I'm not happy with my current promoter. I'm not looking at you, Mr. Hearn. No, I'm not. Because you look at $50 million and think, no, thank you. Well, sir, no thank you.
90 seconds.
Yeah. Danny Jacobs, you might want to jump ship before it sinks. Because it looks to me like that's what's happening. Okay, you're fighting on a bogus network. You're fighting for a bogus promoter. Okay, it's just not a good look. It's just not a good look. Who turns down $50 million? I mean, what the fuck? How is that ever good business? I'm sorry. Hey,
60 seconds.
What the fuck? Yeah, I'm at a loss. Gentlemen, I'll leave you with that.
Fight Doctor.
Okay. We'll see you next week, Fight Doctor. Good call.
We love it. Fight Doctor going crazy going off on Anthony Joshua, Eddie Hearn, the Brits. Beeb, those are your people. Beeb, what do you have to say?
I'm just a little disappointed, man. No. I'm a little disappointed. What can I say?
Oh goodness!
And look, let me comment on this whole stripping Triple G thing. He doesn't deserve to be stripped, okay? Because I know
10 seconds.
And Triple G don't turn down fights, and I know that Tom Loeffler anyway realizes that mandatories are due. You know, I mean, it's not like Triple G was a promoter that doesn't know what he's doing. So I hate to hear talk about the IBF or WBC or WBA thinking about stripping him. I mean, he's in a current situation that he had no control over. And I don't know what's going to happen after Saturday. I don't know whether the Canelo rematch will actually take place or what. I know that that's what they want, but I also know that if you're a legitimate champion and you have belts, you cannot avoid people. You're going to have to fulfill your obligations or give up your belts. So
there you go.
I think some decisions after Saturday are going to have to be made, or some things are going to have to be negotiated with the various sanctioning bodies, so nobody even thinks about stripping him. I mean, hell, Keith Thurman finally decided to give up one of his titles after, what, 2 years? And yet he's still got another title that he should do the same thing with. I mean, you got a guy in that case that doesn't want to fight, and you've got another guy like Triple G that wants to fight, but yet either you got a situation like this that happens, or other things happen out of his control. I don't want to hear any talk about any sanctioning body stripping a legitimate champion unless he does not want to fulfill his obligations.
All right, let's go back to the phones here. 480. You're live.
Arizona.
Maybe you're not.
Hey, Brandon, what's up?
Oh, not much, man. I just heard Robbie just crying tears for his boy, man. I feel for you, Robbie. You know, this Conor always seems like bring a lot of heat. But anyway, man, I'm out here in the public, man. I just wanted to just say that, you know, the Sulecki guy was actually pretty good, man. I remember seeing him fight in Denver. You know, it was a tough fight for Jacobs. It was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. But that guy was pretty good. I'd like to see him fight again, you know. I think he's here at 154. And I thought last night, man, the HBO team was horrible, man. I just thought they were just all over Jacobs' job last night. And to me, it was terrible.
No,
that's all I got for you.
Right.
Thank you. Kellerman was in just rare form last night.
No,
anyway, you guys have a good one, man.
The whole thing was awful. All right, see you later.
He needs to get on Rick James.
Terrible phone connection.
Yeah, he needs to get on Rick James status. Sounds like he was outside. The wind's blowing, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about this. We'll go back to the news, and then we're going to wrap it up here. Canelo Alvarez. Robert, Canelo Alvarez passes a hair follicle test. How about that?
Well, you know what, Eric? In Mexico.
That's right.
You know what, Eric? I'm glad that he did that. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't. But my question is, why didn't you do that before Nevada handed down their suspension? You could have done that before, and you could have saved the fight. Why you wait till you get suspended and then take the hair test?
You bashed him. You bashed the Mexican hero, our Mexican hero. And he submitted a hair follicle testing at the request of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. Test came back negative for any banned performance substances. Clenbuterol especially.
Good.
And clenbuterol stays in there for a couple of months from what I understand in a hair follicle test. So it was consistent with contaminated beef. That being said, it was still a stupid move to eat the meat where you know it could have been contaminated. So it was really kind of stupid. But it is what it is. I hope they go to the hair follicle testing from here out. I don't think they will. And it was completely voluntary. It was not ordered. It was completely voluntary on Canelo's part. So, hey, good for Canelo. There you go.
Good move.
I'm glad he did it.
They overturned that. Go ahead, Beeb.
I was saying it's a good move.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Keith Thurman vacates the WBC title. Mauricio Suleiman said recently that Danny Garcia and Sean Porter are the two leading contenders for the WBC title. Now, whether that fight gets made or not, hey, that's on those two. Keith Thurman said, due to my rehabilitation for my injuries, I agreed to relinquish my WBC title at this time. I continue to rehab my hand and elbow. Who cares? He's been out for a long time. Either you're going to fight or you're not going to fight, But he still has the WBA title. They have not stripped him. So
yeah, he still got the WBA title, and I call him Keith. I don't want to fight. Thurman.
Oh, very clever. And I tell you what, the reason he vacated the title because they were going to strip him of the title. So don't, it's not like he did this out of the goodness of his heart. Adonis Stevenson versus Bonu Jack is now official for May 19th, as we talked about. Liam Smith pulls out of the Saddam Ali fight. Saddam Ali will now face Jamie Munguia. So that's the one that Triple G tried to fight, and they said, nope, he's not good enough, but he is good enough for Saddam Ali. So there you go. He's 154 pounds, too, so coming up.
Yeah.
So was Martirosyan, though. Yeah. Wasn't Martirosyan 154 pounds coming up?
Correct.
That is correct, yep.
All right, speaking of Martirosyan, IBF grants Triple G an exemption to fight on May 5th. IBF said, first of all, you're not fighting Martirosyan. Then they said, okay, we'll let you. They granted Triple G an exemption for his mandatory defense to face late substitute Vanis Martirosyan, but with the stipulation that his next fight, should he defeat Martirosyan, he has to face Sergey Derevyanchenko if he wants to keep the belt. So there you go. I think that's fair. That'll do it for this.
Look, as I said previously, Eric, if you're going to be a legitimate champion and you're going to hold all these belts, you got to meet your obligations. And Derevyanchenko, Danny Jacobs, and Charlo are all obligations. You have to fight those people.
All right. That'll do it for this edition of Ringside Reporter. As always, you can catch Robert on Twitter at Ringside Robert, or you can call Ringside Robbie's Corner at 917-259-1810. Leave him a message. Catch Joe Habib on Twitter at JHabib1, and find his YouTube channel at beatingtheoddswithbeeb.com. And make sure to tune into that, man, because he's putting a lot of videos out. He's putting in work for you guys. All right. I'm at Ringside 73, and we will see you next week.